I am hot after this game, as it feels like the Islanders just got hosed with losing a point in a game where it looks like they should have won this in regulation. Controversial goal. Usually, how this works in the post game, we go through, we talk about each goal, we go chronological. That'd be really dumb in this post game because the story of the game has to be this controversial disallowed goal due to goalie interference. Mitch.
Yeah, it's the story of the game because the Islanders had the win. I understand there's more context than just that, and some will say like, well, they didn't play very well, and you definitely have a case of that. But the win was in the bag, and
We'll
then
get to that.
yeah, and they call no goal on the ice. This is what matters the most: is that they call no goal on the ice on this play here. Watch
So
this ticky-tacky shit.
So we'll just let this loop as we are talking about it. But I've seen people try to say, well, Merzlikins is still in his crease, and that's when the contact starts. But the problem that I have is Merzlikins initiates contact, pushes him forward, and then it's seconds after Palmieri with the tip, and it's way outside the crease by the time he's actually making the deflection at this point.
To me, it hinges on he initiated the contact. I understand Palmieri is at the top of the crease, which he's allowed to be. You're allowed to be there. But Merzlikins comes out and shoves him out of the way. So, if he doesn't do that, then he's set. You see that constantly. The goalie and players are almost touching all the time. What the hell are we doing here?
Just get rid of going to the front of the net, I suppose. Everything's going to be outside shots. There's no screens anymore. We're not allowed. You have to stand at least 5 feet out from the crease at all times. Because if you look, Palmieri's skates actually never enter the crease. Right there, he's outside the crease. Yep. And yes, Merzlikins is still there. But once again, Mitch, who's the one who initiated contact? Was it Palmieri or was it Elvis Merzlikins who is pushing him away, and that as the reason for why he's out of position? Plus, even if he never did touch him, is he catching that anyway with the glove after that deflection? No. So it should have been a moot point, but instead they rule it no goal on the ice. And then after the review, they needed obviously conclusive evidence to completely overturn it. And you were never going to get that on a play so close like this.
Right. And that's the key thing here, is that because it was deemed no goal on the ice, as Brendan laid out on the broadcast, you have to have conclusive evidence that it's not. I think there is. I think it's clear that there's no goalie interference here, but the league doesn't deem that. The league clearly thought, well, the refs and the league thought that this was not goalie interference, or there was goalie interference, or there at least wasn't enough to say, I 100% believe that there isn't. I just don't understand how the hell this can be called goalie interference. Like, I see Steve here talking about the exact same play transpired against Sorokin 2 games ago, and it was deemed no goalie interference. The same less aggressive version happens, and it's interference. Make it make sense.
Yeah, I'm pulling up a couple post-game quotes from the players that I wanted to share as well, because Palmieri was pissed. Bo Horvat, who's been one of the more vocal leaders, upset as well. We'll start with Bo Horvat, who said that was, quote, one of the worst goal calls I've ever seen. Followed up with the quote from Kyle Palmieri, called it fucking embarrassing. Says he felt like refs couldn't wait to wave the goal off.
They couldn't. Right, like Bill put it into the Patreon chat or into the Discord saying, like, just have it count and then review it after the fact. I don't know if that's necessarily legal per the rules, but you could imagine that Dean Evison would challenge it, wouldn't he? Or does he lose that challenge because he challenged earlier and lost that challenge?
It would have been reviewed anyway, no? The situation room review, regardless?
Yes, you would think so. And then just let it. I don't understand how you quickly say, like, this is so no goal on what is not clearly obvious.
No, because everyone thought, oh, they're waving this off for a high stick because it was a deflection and he's 5 feet away from the goalie at that point. No one's thinking, I certainly wasn't thinking goalie interference. They didn't say that on the broadcast until after, the ref turned his mic on.
Yeah. Look, even Nicholas, I just don't understand what goalie interference is. The league goal looked like it was, and the goal that was waved off did not. What the hell or what the F? And the NHL needs to get this shit figured out.
And maybe that's the toughest part too, is because there's no consistency
No.
with goalie interference at all. Like there's no standard that's set, line in the sand. This is or this isn't, because it seems like you get similar situations game in and game out. And one game it could be a goal, and the next game maybe it won't, depending on the crew or the explanation or how it's called on the ice. It's just a really frustrating set of circumstances for the Islanders, and it cost them a point tonight. And
Yeah.
also, it doesn't help because you gave Columbus 2 points. So it's a 1 point swing, I guess, technically, right? But
Yeah.
still, it could have been 2 points for the Islanders, no points for Columbus, and what's a really tight race for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Just incredibly, incredibly frustrating stuff today.
It hits on multiple fronts, right? Not only do you lose that extra point, you give it to a rival who's chasing you in those standings, but you also lose that potential regulation win, which is the first tiebreaker in the NHL. And things are tight, as we all know, in the Eastern Conference. So you might not have to come down to tiebreakers at the end of the day, but you absolutely want that. And the Islanders desperately, any team desperately needs regulation wins. So you took all of that away on a call that you were in no way for sure. There was no way whatever goddamn ref, and I don't want to hear anything about Wes goddamn fucking McCauley. I'm so tired of him. Oh, he's one of the greatest ref. He said fighting once and he was funny. Stop acting like he's the best ref ever.
He's not.
That one call cost the Islanders on so many goddamn fucking levels. It's ridiculous. Sorry, I don't try to swear, but I can't. I'm too pissed now.
But let's go to Patrick Waugh here.
The end of the game, how did you see the goal being waved off?
I think I saw it the same way you guys saw it. I mean, Palmieri was out of the crease and we tipped it in, and I think their goalie pushed him away at the same time.
Yep.
So
This is coming from a goalie, by the way, former goalie.
that's how I see it. And if Toronto is afraid to overturn calls made by their referee, we don't need Toronto. That's all I would want to say.
The end of the game,
Yeah, he's not wrong at all, right? Like that's the point of having Toronto there. It's not just like, hey, refs, can you look at that again and try to overturn the call you already made? And apparently referees have no problem or have a problem doing so. Well, I watched the Premier League, and effectively that's what happens with VAR, right? They call the referee over to look at a monitor and say, hey, maybe you want to look at this again. This is what we're seeing. And then usually when the referee goes to the monitor after he's already made a call, it's because he's going to overturn it. And he does 90% of the time. This is like, what are we doing here? Hey, do you want to look at it again? No, I don't. I have conviction in my call. Well, then what the frig are we doing, man? Why do we have this?
Yeah, what's the point of them calling in the situation room review if it's not going to get overturned? That's a good point from Patrick Waugh.
Yeah, I get, like, as Brendan was explaining, that you're looking for conclusive evidence. I suppose, but like the referees aren't saying goalie interference for sure, no goal, if they don't have something they think might have been. At that point, I don't think that justification makes sense anymore. If you like that, make sure to subscribe to Up the Turnpike on Patreon for more exclusive New York Islanders content.